What are the roles of a chemical process engineer in the hydrogen economy? It will depend on the field of expertise that you choose for your career. If you are in the research and development area, your roles will be related to develop a new process, to research, to test, to propose new ways of production, and etc. It is interesting that in the research and development, in my point of view, is an area that care more about titles. When we are talking about plant design, when we are talking about operations, process safety, or quality, these fields of expertise don't require too much titles as PhD and etc. But when you go to the research and development, the PhDs, masters, and etc. is a good is more desired by the companies when they talk to the market that they have how many PhD as workers. It's important for the brand of the company. In the other fields of expertise, as I told you, it's not so important. It's most important that you have experience and that you are able to solve problems in that area. I'm not talking that in the research in development, solving problems is not important. But if you are higher grades, higher diplomas and certifications, for sure it will help you. Plant design is a very specific field of expertise where you need to understand. We start with the product specification, and most often the product specification comes from the market or from the regulations and from the product that I need to sell for companies. For instance, I need to produce nitrogen, or I need to produce liquid CO2 at beverage grade. So based on that, the industry already has a set of requirements for that product. And I need to evaluate what are the sources or what are the raw materials available for that. While the research and development will look for new ways to producing a product, the chemical process engineering plant design will not develop a new process. They will get process that already exists. They will choose routes that already exist, and most often we decided for routes of production that is well defined, well consolidated in the industry, and we deal with heating material balance. We deal with chemical engineering drawings like PNIDs, PFDs, and etc. And we deal with process data sheets for equipment, control valves, safety devices, and etc. Because now we need to get the idea of the R&D, and that many cases are at the laboratory scale or pilot scale, and compared to industrial scale, it is very, very small. And we need to let the project able to erect the plant in the field. So that is the target of the chemical process engineering plant design. And it is what I do my best to teach you following my chemical process engineers YouTube channel, LinkedIn, and Telegram channel, and etc. And you can find all the links for this media at my website, jeffersoncosta.com. Once the plant is running and in operations, there are chemical process engineers in the operations that needs to evaluate the design of the plant and do as much as possible to reduce the energy to produce the product, the hydrogen in this case. We are talking about hydrogen economy, so the process engineer in operations will try to increase the amount of hydrogen that will produce it, or to decrease the amount of energy that are needed to produce the same amount of hydrogen. And that is important because the price of your products depends on the market, and the margin of your business depending on how much the product costs for the company. That's why when we start a project, we evaluate which are the routes of productions available, and based on that, we try to choose the best one for the company, not necessarily the best one in the terms of state of the art. We are not worried about the state of the art when we are doing plan design. We are worried about cost benefit, and the operations must reduce the cost of production, and sometimes also propose modifications, upgradings to the plant in order that it's possible to achieve that goals. And as all of this is from the R&D to quality, we need to have a process safety point of view. And that is very important because you don't want to run a plant that can explode. You don't want to run a plant that can injure people, that can injure equipment, and etc. So the process safety field of expertise is very, very important, even though you don't work exclusively for that. If you work with plan design, it's very important to you be familiar with HAZOP, HAZID, and etc., LOPA, etc. If you are in operations, it's very important to you be familiar with those terms also. But it's possible also to build a career only working with process safety. And in some cases, you can work as a consultant, or you can work in many companies. The process safety is related also with the environment. So in some department, it is safety environment engineer or something like that. It's an interesting field of expertise. And if you are starting your career here in Brazil, for instance, we have post-graduating course. After the graduation, you can do a short course for graduation. I recommend people to do the process safety post-graduation on that, because that opens to you more options when you go to the market. And you have also the quality, and the quality you will deal with the requirements that regulations asks for the hydrogen purity, the hydrogen contaminants, and etc. So when we are talking about quality as a chemical process engineer, you will deal more with documentation and regulations, which kind of documentation you need to issue to the regulations to make sure that your plant is performing well and according to the regulations. And eventually you can deal also with laboratory. I believe that if you are a chemical process engineer or a chemical engineer and wants to work with laboratory, working with quality, or eventually with research and development, it will be the place where you want to be. If you want to work with industrial plants, big equipments, and doing calculations, improving the plant performance, the field that you should choose is plant design, operations, or process safety. But if you want to do the selection and sizing of equipments, plant design is the best place, and it is the one that I like most.